Renaissance. Welcome to today's Cloudism, which we translate into I see my signs of healing. Cloudisms are memorable words or phrases or images that I use to help you emotionally regulate, mentally reframe something, or spiritually connect to the now moment. I am Claudia Cauterucci. I'm a Washington, D.C. psychotherapist. I'm a psychospiritual coach, and I am a fellow life traveler. So let's jump right in. Renaissance. We give you about 6 points about the word Renaissance for you to remember, especially on your healing journey. This works best with people who are in therapy or who are spiritual seekers who are actually doing the internal work of cleaning up on their past wounds and trauma, because these are signs of your healing. So let's go with point number one. Point number one is that the actual word Renaissance means rebirth in French. Renacer in Spanish, renaissance in French, rebirth in English. It means that something is happening, that something is being birthed anew. Number two, and I'm going to look at my notes once in a while. What happens when we're on the healing journey is that trauma or our childhood wounds, but especially trauma, takes away, robs us of a future. When we're in trauma, it's really hard to think of possibilities for our future. This is really common that what we do is continue to stay over and over in the routine of our present. And that is soothing and comforting when we're trauma survivors. For sure, routine is essential to soothe the central nervous system. But what happens is it gets harder and harder to see a future, to see possibilities, because we're so focused on trying to calm the now experience, what we're living in the day to day. So, number two is that trauma can rob us of the magic of future possibilities. But hold on, because this is where Renaissance comes in. Number three, art, writing, dancing, music is a way not only for us to start moving out of trauma, but it's also a way for us to start reaching for possibility. So let me say a little bit more here. So there's something called narration therapy, where we actually express, talk therapy about what's happened to us. We can write about our trauma. We can paint about our trauma. And little by little, we can dance, embodiment, use our body, and start to release our trauma. For example, trauma is held a lot in the hips. So doing any form of stretching, massage, movement that releases the hips, especially with dancing, helps us move the trauma out of our body. We know that there's several famous painters like Van Gogh, like Frida Kahlo, who used art as a way of moving the trauma out of their body and into art. Renaissance, right? The memory of the 14th through the 17th century, birth of art and science and psychological and philosophical discussions were just burgeoning all over the European continent. It was a form of aliveness, vibrance, rebirth, expression. Renaissance, the idea of Renaissance, moving trauma out of the body, is how I use it. Before, notice when in your healing journey you start to want to start dancing more. Now let me give you some examples. I had a client who said, I think I want to cut my hair in a very chic style. Now, she might have not known that I was tracking it as her psychotherapist as a move into Renaissance, a move into beauty. Someone who starts to say, I think I want to do a photo shoot. I want to express myself in front of a camera. Of course, we discussed this in session, but these are the ways that I start tracking the move into healing because they're starting to reach for art. They're starting to reach for the possibility of beauty, of music. People who say, I loved going out today and walking in nature. Again, what is so profound about nature, about sunsets? People take pictures with sunsets all the time. It's because it's beautiful. People like looking onto a view, onto a landscape. It's because it fills us with the experience of art. It calms our central nervous system. Going to a museum does that. So as we're moving in our psychotherapeutic journey, in our healing journey, when we start reaching for painting, for music, for dancing, these are signs that we can track that we're reaching for our higher healing, our higher self. Another way that Renaissance is important in the healing journey is that in post traumatic stress disorder, we are always in survival. Our central nervous system is in survival. We are stuck in anxiety. We are stuck in panic. We are in fight or flight or freeze or fawn, right? So there's not much movement to be beautifying whatever it is, beautifying our homes, beautifying our face, beautifying our bodies. The other way that dance, for example, is really important when you dance with someone else, and these are forms of trauma healing, by the way. In the book, The Body Keeps the Score, which is a trauma classic, Bessel van der Kolk, who is like the OG on trauma, talks about dance, joining a choir, dancing tango, as forms of trauma healing, doing yoga, doing hot yoga, embodiment, as forms of trauma healing, especially if you dance in proximity, right? This is where we help each other regulate our central nervous systems through connectivity. So, can you see, right? Number 4 is that we start to notice the way that I notice when I'm working with clients, track the ways that they're reaching for Renaissance. Number 5 is begin to infuse your healing journey with Renaissance, with dance, with art, with music, with writing, because these are signs of healing. Number 6, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And this is how I track it in session. These are signs of self-love, self-worth, and self-esteem. When a client wants to do a photo shoot, it's because they're having self-worth and self-esteem. When a client is posing in front of a mirror because they're loving the way they're treating their bodies well, this is a sign of self-love and self-esteem. When a client decides to write the book in spite of their fears, these are signs of self-esteem. When a client decides to cut their hair in a way they've never cut it before, these are signs of self-esteem. So let's recap really quickly. Number 1, the word Renaissance means rebirth, making something come anew. Number 2, trauma takes away our reach for possibility and a future. Number 3, reaching for Renaissance is reaching for healing. Reaching for art, music, dance, writing is reaching for healing. Number 4, notice the ways, track the ways that you're already doing that. Track it as a sign of your healing. Number 5, infuse your life with Renaissance, with rebirth, with activities of art, dance, music, healing. And number 6, know that these are signs of self love, self esteem, and self worth. Thank you. I'm going to do a podcast on this whole theme of Renaissance, and it'll be coming up soon. But for now, keep this in your mind as you're reaching for Renaissance. I'll see you in the next Cloudism.